So get this. We're diving into a case from England. A mother hid her daughter in a drawer, and she hid her for almost 3 years.
Wow.
We'll be going over court reports from the case and like all of our deep dives. I really want to get to the why of it all.
Yeah, for sure. It's just unbelievable. What could lead to something like that?
So the story starts when the mother's partner, he wasn't living there full time, but he was staying there more often. And one day he heard a noise coming from a bedroom.
Oh, no. This is going to be bad, isn't it?
Yeah. He found a little girl in a drawer. She was just weeks away from her 3rd birthday.
That poor kid. Can you imagine living in a drawer
For
for like your whole life?
It's hard to even fathom. How does something like that affect a developing mind?
Right. At that age, kids are learning. They're learning to walk and talk. They're learning how to interact with the world. She was deprived of all of that.
It makes you wonder, did she even know there was a world outside of that drawer?
I mean, sensory deprivation alone is just crazy.
And she wasn't just trapped in there. The reports say she was severely malnourished and dehydrated. The judge in the case said she was living a living death.
Yeah, I saw that. It's harsh, but I mean, he's not wrong.
This wasn't just neglect. It was a complete denial of her basic human needs.
I agree.
Her right to just exist.
Yeah.
What really gets me is that the mother hid her from everyone.
Really? Everyone?
Other children, family members.
Wow. Sounds like a double life.
Yeah. And when she was confronted, they say she was almost emotionless, like she didn't care.
Is that normal?
I don't know. It makes you think about maternal instincts.
Yeah. What could cause that?
It's just a complete lack of empathy.
It really makes you question what makes someone a mother. You know what I mean?
Right. I do. It's hard to wrap your head around it.
There's got to be something else going on.
Yeah. Something deeper.
Right. There has to be.
In the next part, we'll be looking into some possible explanations for why a mother could do something like this.
I can't wait. It's scary to think that this could be happening and nobody even knows.
It really makes you wonder how many other kids are out there in the same situation.
Right. You always think about abuse being obvious, like something you can see.
Physical abuse.
Yeah. But this is different.
This is insidious. You can't see it because she was hidden.
It's a wake-up call for all of us. Neglect can happen anywhere, to anyone.
So how do we know? What are some signs that something is wrong?
Well, each case is different. But there are red flags, like if a child is withdrawn or overly anxious, or they're afraid of a specific person.
So not always physical signs.
Right. Especially when they're being hidden. You really have to pay attention to their behavior.
What kinds of changes should we look for?
Sudden aggression. Or if they start regressing, like maybe they were potty trained, but now they're having accidents again.
Or a big change in their personality.
Exactly.
And what about isolation? It seems like that was a big factor in this case.
Definitely. If a kid is kept away from other people, family,
Yeah.
friends, if they never go to school, that's a problem.
So what do you do if you think something's wrong?
Well, it's a tough spot. You don't want to overreact,
Right.
but you also can't ignore it. If you're really worried, you have to report it.
Who do you report it to?
Child Protective Services or the police. There are also national hotlines.
Like the Child Help USA hotline.
Yep.
So it really comes down to trusting your gut.
Yeah. If something seems off, it probably is.
It's better to be safe than sorry.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to kids.
Because intervening early can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. The sooner the better.
This little girl, she's already making so much progress.
I know, it's amazing. It's a testament to how resilient kids are.
It really is.
They can bounce back from anything.
They need help.
Of course. They need love and care and a safe environment.
This mother was obviously struggling.
Yeah. But she still needs to be held accountable.
For sure.
But we also have to recognize that she probably had her own issues,
Trauma.
mental health problems.
Maybe.
It doesn't excuse what she did, but it's important to understand why.
So we can prevent it from happening again. Exactly. It's about supporting family
Yeah. Giving them resources.
so they can thrive.
Right. Things like mental health services, affordable childcare.
Making sure families feel supported.
It takes a village.
That's for sure.
We all have to do our part.
This case is a stark reminder of that.
It shows us the dark side of humanity, but it also shows us the strength of the human spirit.
Especially in children.
It's inspiring.
It's heartbreaking.
It's both.
But it's also a call to action.
We can't just sit back and do nothing.
I have to fight for these kids.
We have to make sure they have a chance.
This case is far from over.
There's still a lot to unpack.
Especially when it comes to the long-term effects of trauma.
Like, what kind of challenges will she face growing up?
It's hard to even think about. After everything she's already been through, yeah, it's just awful to think about. Like, how is she ever going to be okay?
I mean, there's no way to know for sure how this will affect her, but there are things like long-term consequences of this kind of trauma
Oh,
that we know to watch out for.
okay, like,
Well, mental health is a big one. Anxiety, depression, even PTSD.
makes sense. She was under so much stress.
Exactly. For years, she didn't even know if the world was a safe place.
I mean, how does that even work? Trauma changes the brain, right?
It does. Studies show that being under stress for a long time,
Yeah.
it can actually,
Right.
like physically change the structure of the brain.
Wow. So it's not just psychological.
Nope. It affects the parts of the brain that control emotions and memory and even physical health.
Physical health. Too.
Yeah. There's a link between childhood trauma and chronic diseases later in life.
Oh, wow.
Heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune disorders.
So this could affect her for her whole life.
Could,
Yeah.
but there are things we can do to help. Therapy, especially trauma-focused therapy.
So she can process what happened
Yeah, and learn to cope.
in a healthy way.
Exactly.
What about her family?
Family therapy can be really helpful too.
Okay.
Because sometimes
Yeah.
the family dynamic
Yeah.
contributes to the problem.
Right.
So it's important to address that.
So it sounds like early intervention is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The younger a child is, the more adaptable their brain is.
So the sooner we can get them help, the better their chances are.
Exactly.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
This whole case is it's heartbreaking.
It is.
But it's good to end on a hopeful note.
Yeah. Trauma doesn't have to define someone's life.
There is hope for healing.
There is.
I'm recovery.
And everyone listening, we can all help by
Well.
being there for kids who have been through trauma, volunteering, donating, speaking up for them.
Even just raising awareness.
Exactly. Every little bit helps.
This deep dive, I've learned a lot.
Me too.
It's been hard.
But important.
This is a conversation we need to be having.
We do.
So I want to leave you with this. What can you do to make a difference in your community?
For kids who have experienced trauma.
That's something to think about. Thanks for listening.